West Tigers fans, we're back again in the iChoice studio to review another West Tigers controversy, and we'll also look forward to another game this weekend and review some NRLW action as well. Welcome to another episode of the WestsLife Podcast. Let's get into it. Welcome into another episode of the WestsLife Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Barnett. Please give us a follow at WestsLife Pod on Instagram and Twitter, and at westtigers.com.au. There is a Linktree link that will take you to where you can find all of our great things that we do. If you're listening on YouTube, welcome. You'll find the YouTube channel there. Please like and subscribe if you're there, seeing all of our regulars rolling in on the stream for another Tuesday night. Thank you very much to all our legends, and thank you to all the legends in our Patreon, patreon.com/WestsLife. If you want to support the show, join the Discord, like I've called it before. It's like Twitter without the dickheads. So come join us, all the fun, lots of Olympics and all sorts of things, as well as obviously game day and plenty of swear words directed at certain NRL officials. Speaking of which, a man who had a filthier mouth than I realised, Aaron Thompson. How are you this evening?
Yeah, g'day, Josh. I'm pretty good today. Bit better than I was going on Thursday night, to be totally honest with you. Obviously, had a little bit of a rough time during the game. Yeah, I'm prone to throwing out a few swear words here and there, maybe a few more than some would like. But, oh, well, what can you do? It's the footy. We love it. We hate it sometimes, but, oh, well.
I was going to drop an F-bomb, but YouTube doesn't like it when you drop F-bombs early. So we might save the F-bombs for a little bit later. There will be some later. A man who's also always proper, though, both online and off. Mr. Bashara, how are you this evening?
I'm well, Josh. Good to be here at the home of iChoice, at the corner of the Boulevard and Liverpool Road, and for Mobile Corp as well, our sponsors who have stuck through us through thick and thin.
Sure have.
Going to be interesting to review this game. I don't think I've ever felt better about a loss when we've conceded 48 points, but there were plenty of positives. I think the best thing was I felt like I got my mojo back as a supporter at the ground the other night. I've been pretty placid, but the second half really got me pissed off. And then I joined Mr. Thompson in some foul language at the end of the game, questioning the referee whether he was from the city or the country. And I might have questioned him about 7 times on that. And I'm hoping he heard me, and I'm glad I didn't get kicked out of the ground.
Yep. Definitely plenty of country being thrown around, that's for sure. Righto, let's get into the show. Obviously, the title of the show is Murdered by the Butler again, so we'll talk plenty about that. Let me just bring the slide up. There we go. Of course, we talk about iChoice, as Rob just mentioned. What's the address again?
We're on the corner of Liverpool Road, which is the Hume Highway, and the Boulevard, right on the border of Strathfield and Enfield. Right near that
big Dan Murphy's across the road. If you want to
opposite Domino's,
get some, grab a fee. Well, I didn't know that was there. Wish I'd known that earlier. But yeah, of course, iChoice, they provide great home loans. If you're looking for a home loan rather. Jason is a massive Tigers fan. All this merchandise behind us, the West Magpies jersey. I was just reading before, he's got a Balmain Tigers 1989 season review magazine. I was just like, it's like pristine condition. So he loves these little knickknacks. It's the coolest office you'll ever see too. So come in, play some putt golf, some pinball and all that sort of thing, and get a good home loan while you're there. He will look after you. Say the WestsLife Podcast sent you. And of course, our beloved friends at Mobile Corp, they support local businesses by managing their IT, their networks, and their mobile devices. If you're a local business owner looking for a partner who will take away the hassle of dealing with IT issues, make sure you have cybersecurity in place, handle all of your mobile device needs, then Mobile Corp can help. Mobile Corp is a family-run business, long-time supporter of the West Tigers and the WestsLife Podcast. Reach out to Stephen, our mate, at Mobile Corp, mobilecorp.com.au, mobilecorp.com.au. Phil, our man in England, as just mentioned, how you got blocked by Gus Gould today. on Twitter.
Yeah, I did. Apparently, him and possibly others at the club aren't too keen about the club copping criticism from the way some of their fans behave or react after games. And in light of the incident at Belmore, or after the Belmore game on Sunday, with the Raiders drummer being, I maybe wouldn't say assaulted based on the imagery I've seen, but
it was
pushed to the ground. He got pushed to the ground.
or pushed to the ground. Yeah.
Bullied, at very
He was
least.
trying to get to his car.
I replied to a post on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, and mentioned my 2 experiences at Bulldogs games. And yeah, I got blocked by him. So bit strange. I would have thought maybe the course of action he would take would be maybe asking if I'm okay, or if I have any more information I could give him to potentially find the people who did what they did. But no, he's just hit the block button, added me to his list.
There you go. I went to a Tigers Bulldogs game. I want to say it was just after the premiership. I went 2006 or 07. And it was like close to a right. They're like full-on punch-ons in the ANZ Stadium, or Telstra Stadium, I think it was. Then look, they've been quiet for a while, the Bulldogs fans, and all of a sudden, they're well and truly alive. Anyway, on to some news. So a little bit of signing news. Literally, someone floated that the West Tigers might be interested in the big ranger from Canberra Raiders, Corey Horsburgh, who's played State of Origin last year, I believe. Last year, I think he played for the Queenslanders. They're talking about saying he can talk to other clubs. Boys, either of you, I wouldn't mind it. Obviously, depends on money, but I think he'd be great coming off the bench. Bit of depth in the forwards. We're losing some forwards, obviously.
We'd be looking at anyone, but he's another hothead. We're talking about conceding penalties and sin bins. I mean, he makes, John Bateman look like a choir boy, doesn't he? So, look, I mean, we'd look at anyone. I mean, he can play. He's obviously played rep level. He's got some aggression. He plays to win. But what I've heard, I think St. George seem to be in the box seat. But, never know how these things pan out. Ultimately, I think if Benji wants a player, Richo will get him for him.
What are your thoughts, Az?
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, the penalty count and things like that are the main concern right now. And I think probably one of our biggest concerns into the off-season is fixing up our discipline. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some referees or someone involved with the referees to come in and maybe give the club some pointers or something like that, which I think is something that Madge might have done at one point. I think there was a year where Madge had Gavin Badger.
Let's get him back
around the club for a bit. He's in South's coach's box at the moment. I don't know how long he'll be there for, but or if he's still contracted to them.
I think 17 NRL clubs, all 17 NRL clubs should appoint Gavin Badger.
Just get him in there.
Just get him in there for all 17 teams. That way we'll have no conflict of interest.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't say no to getting another big red, but yeah, his aggression is probably something we need. He's probably got that a little bit better than Bateman. I think he handles it a little bit better than Bateman has as well, for the most part.
Yeah, I like him. I don't know. I think someone who plays with their heart. People mentioned the one time that he cried. Look, I'm not going to judge a man on crying. Have you seen the movie Marley and Me? Though I was bawling when I watched that movie. I wouldn't mind him. Speaking of Canberra, our former West Tigers player John Bateman, Rob, I didn't put this in the news per se, but he said a few things about West Tigers. When he went over there, I didn't realise that he'd give us a little kick on the way through.
Yeah, it was more of a backhander. I mean, he was quoted as saying that it's good to be back with his family and good to be with a good club again. And that inference is saying that we aren't a good club. So it's a very weird one when you consider he was only with us 2.5 weeks ago, and his last game he was actually made captain of the club. So I don't know where this deterioration in the relationship's gone, but it sounds like he doesn't want to be back, and sounds like we don't want him back as a club. I know he's got his negatives. I think the bloke can play. He's just got to sort his head out. But he's probably been frustrated for the last few months, and he's been playing accordingly. But yeah, I don't think we'll have him back. But I've seen the best of John Bateman, and it's certainly a good piece to have if he if his head was in the right place and he wanted to be with us, and he can sort out his differences with whoever it is at the club, whether it's Benji or Richo or whoever.
He's also an England international, and he has been for quite some time. So he's got that rep experience. He's played in World Cups. He's played for his country many times, and it's surprising that it seems like, again, we haven't gotten the best out of him.
He does a lot of good things on the field, but he just undoes it with a lot of bad things. Like even that last game he played against South, he did so many good things, but the poor offloads and the discipline, that's what we all remember. We kind of remember the mistakes. We don't remember the good things, but when you watch the game in full, he does do a lot of good things in the game. I just think a lot of our fans are frustrated because we are losing and he's too experienced to be giving away stupid penalties and silly sin bins.
Another one was the game in Penrith. He got moved out to the centres fairly early in that game after Junior Tupou was out injured. And from there, it kind of, I mean, he did a lot of good things in that game too, but he also had some costly drops while we were trying to get out of trouble and things like that. So he's got the talent, he's got the ability. It just seems strange that he hasn't played like that for us per se. And now he's made comments about the club that seem rather distasteful.
Do you think Luai next year makes a difference linking up with him?
Huge difference. Yeah. Huge difference, not just for him, for everyone. He, not just on the field, off the field, he brings so much swagger, confidence, and that is infectious on everyone. We see it at Penrith. It'll be a big loss for Penrith losing him, but it's a massive gain for us. I just hope we've got a forward pack that can do our backline justice next year.
Do you think if Jerome Luai, we're about to talk about the game of the weekend, do you think if Jerome Luai plays in that game, with all respect to Fainu, if we had Jerome Luai out there, do you reckon he gets us over the line? Because I think there's been a couple of games this year that if we have him...
I could say that about a lot of games last year. Look, I think it's hard to beat a team with 12 men for the last 30 minutes of a game, such. So that's one thing. The other thing too, I mean, with Latu,
bring your mic a bit closer.
Yeah, with Latu Fainu, guys, I mean, he only, what did he get? He didn't get much time on the field at all. And unfortunately, when Appy goes to halfback and when young Talon De Silva comes on, no offense to Talon, you're weakening two positions with one change. So I don't know if we would have won the other night. I know Latu didn't get much time, and Lockie Galvin really dominated, our play. Like, he was the first receiver. It wasn't really a shared role. Latu was sort of in the background. Now I think he only got one general kick in. But there's just something about Latu. I think when he gets his opportunity and to own a game and control a game, there's just something about him. He's got a lot of time. He's got a lot of class about him. I think he's a really, really good piece to our puzzle. So I'm glad we got Latu, and I hope his head knocks okay, because I think this was the first week he was probably on unrestricted minutes, and he never got to play the 80 minutes. So hopefully he makes a good recovery and we get to see him before the season ends.
Just a quick one on
right.
Do we think he's going to be a bit of a roamer and play both sides of the field? Because I'm trying to decide, I'm trying to picture whether he's going to be on the same side of the field as the second rower in jersey 11 or jersey 12, because whoever that player is, there's going to be a lot of holes they're going to be able to run through. But if he's roaming both sides, that doesn't matter so much. He's probably going to be able to give good ball to both second rowers.
Yeah, I think, look, obviously we're speculating. We don't know what Benji's got planned, but I would say both halves will be playing both sides of the field. It'll just be whatever's going. I mean, if they're only going to play one side of the field predominantly, then you would think Galvin would have shifted to the right this year already to get used to it, because he'll be there next year. I just think they'll both be floating, and they'll just be playing what's in front of them. I know
playing what they see. Yeah.
Quite cliche, but we played so well with 12 men the other night, the last 30 minutes. I just think with Luai there and Galvin just ready to pick holes apart in other teams, it's going to be exciting to watch. We just need those other pieces around them to complete our team.
Righto, let's get into the game from the weekend. 48-30, obviously the main talking point, the Olam sin bin. So we'll start there. A send-off, sorry. It should have been a sin bin, but old mate in the bunker decided it was a send-off. Where do you want to start with this, Az?
Yeah. First of all, it was an absolute fucking joke is what it was.
We're 15 minutes in. I think YouTube should be fine.
I think that's long enough. I think it's like the first 10 minutes or so. I can't understand how different incidents that are of a similar nature over the course of one weekend can have such different outcomes, and how they seemed to get a little bit less severe as the weekend went. Obviously, there was the incident with Olam on Thursday night, which was a send-off. There was a high tackle, not necessarily of a similar nature, by Joey Manu with about 10 minutes left in the game on Friday night, and he got binned for basically the rest of that game. And then there was an incident on Saturday, another high tackle by Sofa Solomona for the Storm. And given his record, that's the word I was thinking of, you'd think he'd be 100% chance of being sin bin for something like that. But nope, just a warning, just on report. And then Isaac Tungo for Penrith on Sunday lays one very similar, I thought, on Kalen Ponga. And he's only put on report too. I mean, they get the try taken off them, but we had, 3 tries in 3 or 4 sets or something when in that first little period of time where Olam was off. And I just thought it was fucking ridiculous. That's the thing that frustrates me the most is, and people will say that we don't have a harder deal or whatever than other teams, or we're not refereed differently. But it's incidents like this, incidents like that one on Thursday night, which make it hard for Tigers fans to see otherwise, because so often we are on the wrong end of the stick, and it's time after time after time. We're getting bent over. We're getting shafted. We just have to deal with the shit that the referees decide to charge us with, and then we just have to suck it up. And then Olam gets bloody a grade 3 in 3 weeks for the early guilty plea, while Isaac Tungo, and I played both of these almost side by side on 2 devices at sort of the same time, as close as I could, and they looked, except for the fact that Olam's feet were a little bit more off the ground, they looked almost identical. Contact in the exact same places. How the fuck does Isaac Tungo only get a fine and a grade 1 while Olam gets 3 weeks? Do we then start asking the question, is if Olam's in a Melbourne Storm jumper instead of a Tigers one, is that a grade 1 then, considering he's also got somewhat of a record and somewhat of a questionable tackling technique? It's just absolute bullshit.
Yeah, look, I can't disagree with you. Yeah, I'd love to hear what the listeners are replying to you there. I think just the absolute cherry on top is Helium Lukey, who got hit by Justin Olam, didn't even have to go to a head bin. Okay, if it was that dangerous, if it was that high,
not immediately.
Well, no, but he didn't. Did he go? Did he go afterwards?
Yeah, he did. The independent doctor took him off about a couple minutes later or something.
My bad. Then I thought he didn't come off at all. But look, there were a number of decisions in the game, not just the send off. There were other decisions through the game that, just had my mind boggling. Like when the Cowboys had a no try because they had a 6 again. And there were so many 6 agains on when we were defending the line. Yet when we made a break in the second half, we'll get through the game in like sort of a chronological order thing. But obviously when Buller made that break and never looked to his right to give it to Staines and gave it inside to Talon De Silva, who was beautifully tackled by Tom Dearden. The next play, Papali'i gets tackled, loses the ball. If you take a still shot of that, every motherfucker was offside.
Yeah.
Like and I'm not talking by the 6 inches that they were getting our players for when
he was standing
in
front of him.
line.
The defender was standing in front of him.
He was side on. There were guys still coming back. It was all over the place, and we do not get those sort of calls. And it's other things. The Cowboys had a try that was a clear double movement. The Butler gave him the try, and luckily it was picked up in the bunker and overruled. There's so many other incidents like that, and you just think, look, at halftime, I thought we weren't going to win the game. Before the game, I didn't think we were going to win the game. But then the way we played that last 30 minutes, as Aaron said, that send-off was so costly. They scored from the send-off, they scored from the kickoff, and they scored from the following kickoff. They literally got 3 tries back to back to back. And we thought then probably it's going to be like 66 or whatever it was. And for the boys to have that scoreline back to 48-30, and let's be fair, if we weren't
Probably
trying to
42.
score a try, it could have been 42, exactly. Lockie pushed a pass that wasn't on, and he threw it forward, and it went straight into Felt's arms, and he ran away. But look, it's just that was a winnable game in hindsight. But I didn't think it was pre-game. But the way the boys did fight, it made me feel good. Like, how do you? People say, well, you're a lunatic because we had 48 points put on us. How can you justify that? Our first half, our right edge was really bad. They scored at will pretty much there. But, for almost 20 minutes, we were leading the game. And it was only some piggyback penalties from the ref, basically due to the fact that whenever we did a general kick, our transitional defence was really poor. They'd either get a penalty because we hadn't adjusted quick enough, or they made a break downfield before getting us on the back foot. But I thought the boys just ripped in the whole time. And people say, well, they should be ripping all the time. But, our season is over. Like, it is hard to get up every week. I was just proud of the effort. And, some of the boys, we'll obviously get into players later, but Jareem Buller wasn't just our best player. He was the best player on the field. And that was a superstar performance. And there were so many performances from so many of our players that had me thinking, man, if we can just get this right next year with a few other pieces, a lot of the guys that played well weren't in our plans to play well this year, as Benji said in his press conference. So it's kind of weird. I thought if you'd have told me that scoreline pre-game and would I be happy with it, I just would have, probably laughed at myself. But I am happy with how we fought,
context,
and ultimately we could have won if we'd have got a penalty from that Isaiah Papali'i knock on, not to mention a sin bin from when Alex Seyfarth got deliberately and professionally taken out from a grubber kick. I mean, there were opportunities there for the ref to even it up, but you know what, mate? They want a Queensland team in the final.
Plus the sin bin for the Isaiah Papali'i knock on, because he was tackled by like 3 players who were nowhere near onside.
I'm saying from that play, from that subsequent play. So they obviously want the Cowboys or the Dolphins or someone from Queensland to get in, and they're getting refereed accordingly.
Just a comment here from there's so many comments coming through. I kind of missed it here. Liam, no, not Liam. Where are you? Where is it? There's a comment here saying, "Is it the bunker's fault that we're on the bottom of the table?" Where the
Regan Bright?
Regan, where are you, Regan? Where'd you go? There he is. So he said, so Klein is the reason the Tigers are at the bottom of the ladder, and we've mentioned probably a bit of a broken record here, but like in the context of everything, the Tigers, yes, they're not playing well enough to be. They might not have won this game. If the send-off didn't happen and Olam stays on the field, maybe they do still lose. The thing that pisses me off with this is we all made our way out to the game. We buy our memberships. We spend hundreds of dollars per game, and we're not alone. There was, what was the crowd the other night? We still got,
I'm not sure,
a little over 7,000.
7,000 or 8,000 people on a Thursday night, freezing cold. We turn up to watch the West Tigers play. They've been shit for however many years. We still turn up, paying. It's getting more and more expensive to go to football. It's a school night. It's a work night. We go out there, and with 30 minutes to go, I see people walking out of the ground because of the bunker interfering with the game and just like basically going off a whim on the decision to send off Olam. I kind of mumbled a little bit there, but the point I'm trying to make is it ruined the game with half an hour to go. Like you've kind of made this point already, Rob, but the game was done with half an hour to go, and the NRL needs to look at it and go, is it really worth? We want player safety, but wouldn't it be worth looking? And obviously they can't do this on the spot and change the rules in season, but maybe they need to look at if they're going to get harsh on players making these dangerous tackles. And I think he hit chest first. It was dangerous. It deserved a penalty, deserved a sin bin, but could they not bring in a rule where the team doesn't lose 12 players for the entire... Imagine if it happened in the 15th minute or something. We lost half an hour is a long time to play with 12 players. The whole game is ruined from there on in. Can they not have us play at 12 for 10, and then he gets replaced and he has to have early shower, but we can bring on a bench player after 10 minutes? There's got to be another way, like to just ruin the whole game by just one split-second decision and one play. It's not right. And I don't think the NRL... I think the NRL themselves would have been spewing, because on a Thursday night, by that time, it would have been 9 o'clock at night. How many people would have switched the TV off? I reckon half the audience. Half the audience.
My mate Tripper just said, I'm not watching the rest of the game. And he missed out on that. But I'll say 3 things to that, Josh. One, to our boys' credit, it didn't ruin the game. It ruined our chances of winning.
Yeah.
But we made it a contest. So full credit to our team for making it a contest.
Of course.
Because the game should have been ruined, and it did definitely diminish our chances.
But it was a 6-point game when it happened.
No, 100%. And it obviously it affected them because, like we said earlier, 18 points in 6 minutes they scored. So it did very much hurt our chances. If you believe that's a send-off, we've seen 50 of those this year. So if it's a send-off, why haven't we seen 50 other send-offs?
Plus the 3 I mentioned this weekend after our game.
Exactly. And if it isn't a send-off, then it should have just been a sin bin at worst or on report. Like even a sin bin, Josh, we've seen, we've half jokingly just to keep our sanity going, we've joked about how many sin bins we concede. Are we going to have a week where we don't have a sin bin this week? Because we know every week when we concede a sin bin, it costs us and we're going to lose. So just a sin bin alone would have hurt us. But yeah, it's just a consistency of it. And many times I've said this before, I can hack. Well, I really can't. But, if referees are going to stuff up things on the run, so be it. You can't get it wrong in the bunker. You got replays, you got this, you got that. You should be getting it right every time. And we shouldn't have numbnuts Annesley, giving us an excuse every Monday or even, washing his hands of it because, it's going to go to the tribunal. I'm not allowed to comment on it or whatever the case may be. So I think we have to accept responsibility for being last. And sometimes you make your own luck. But there have been a number of games this year, and I don't want to bore everyone with naming those games, but there have been a number of games this year where there have been turning points where I really believe there were games we should have won. Like definitely, like we should have 100% won the Canterbury game. Like there was no turning point in that game. There was 80 minutes of just blatant one-sided refereeing. There was a turning point in the Dolphins game. We've seen turning points everywhere. I can't think of them off the top of my head right now, but there were plenty to go by.
Yep.
But look, it's just good that the boys put up not just a fight. It wasn't like a blasé fight. I still think if Papali, if Buller gives that ball to Staines, it's game on. It's game on. We're right back in it, and we're roaring.
Sliding doors moment.
Yeah, and I don't know how we did it with 12 men. I really don't. Like it was just crazy. We struggle to score. What are we averaging this year? Somewhere between 12 and 18 points a game with 13 on the field, and we just ripped 3 tries in with 12 men in the last.
Yeah, the attack is definitely getting more crisp. They're building combinations.
We're trying a
Lockie,
bit more.
Lockie Galvin.
He's
and as fans, just to finish that one off, as fans, all we want is a fucking fair go. We just want a fair go.
I'm just happy with borderline objectivity. I just honestly, more than the send-off, I just can't get over all the 6 again on our line for literally like the lines here, and they got like 6 inches over the line, and they're going 6 again, 6 again, 6 again. Yet they got guys 10 meters offside, and we couldn't get a 6 again off a long-range break that obviously changed.
Which is what Appy got sin bin for against Cronulla.
Exactly. It's just it's blatant. I saw one where even just coming off our own line, Samuela Fainu kind of half busted through the line, got tackled. Our old mate McIntyre that used to play with us never got to marker. Like was right next to him.
Oh yeah.
And tackled our dummy half from the next play the ball. Just nothing.
Yeah, someone.
No, don't worry. It's always
I can't remember.
There.
Someone on Twitter tried to because someone shared the video of that, and I reposted it on our page, and someone would try to justify why.
I rewatched the game.
That wasn't a penalty.
I wrote down. I made notes of.
Well, tell us your notes.
Okay,
what have you got?
I'll bore you.
No. What?
Okay, well let me.
That's
okay, so these are just the key ones. Okay, well in the 30th minute there was a clear disruptor when they put up a high kick, and on the very next tackle we got penalised for obstruction. Running from dummy half, where I'm not sure who the player was. It might have been Nanai. He ran in and swatted his left arm like, he was swatting a fly, and nothing was done about that. That was a clear disruptor. I mentioned just now the McIntyre no penalty on Samuela. I mentioned the Seyfarth getting fouled, no sin bin. We've mentioned the Papali'i after that. There was another one. Papali'i was given a ball, one off the ruck near the Cowboys line, got tackled. While he's on the ground, Nanai fully turned him around. Like literally his head was facing the exit gates at Mary Street and he was facing the fucking Harbour Bridge by the time he got turned around by Nanai. Absolutely nothing done there. The Finifiliaki obstruction on Coruscant, he ran through that line for the Valentine Holmes try. Like just because you don't touch him doesn't mean you haven't taken his space. Where else was there? Okay, I've mentioned the Papali'i one from dummy half. We've mentioned the no try to whoever the bloke was for the Cowboys. It was a double movement. And then
I called that one.
okay, and then
Did I not call that one? Well, then it happened on the spot.
Yeah, you
So
called that.
we
You
said
were
that-
so
We were sitting in the Lasham Robinson stand about halfway. So Pythagoras theorem, the top of my head, I reckon I'm about 70 meters away. I said double movement straight away. He blows at the spot. I'm like, there's no fucking way that's not a double movement. 70 meters away.
You saw it was a
the ref at the
double movement
straight
easily.
away.
The
And
referee's
sure
right in
enough-
front of the bloody thing.
Sure enough, it gets pulled up.
And then the final one was
fucking hell.
Coruscant getting hit late in a tackle after releasing the ball from McIntyre again.
Yeah.
Okay, a penalty, a warning. Like we want a sin bin. Make it 12-on-12. Give us a go. Like you're getting us for anything you possibly can. It's just been like this all year, guys. I mean, like I said, I don't want to say the refs are the reason we come last because that's
and it's part of the frustration that we're not good enough to overcome shit
we
refereeing.
were against Para. We got
Yeah.
some shit refereeing against Para. We overcame. That's one of the most heroic games we've ever played in round 4. But other than that, we really haven't overcome. And I just feel personally, if we got the rub of the green in a few of those earlier games to keep us at 3-3, 4-4, things might have changed. But it's just like it just keeps getting piled on.
Murphy's Law.
Yeah.
To me, the problem is the 50-50 calls almost always going against us, where it feels like it's maybe 80-20 in the other team's favour. And the thing with that is there does seem to be a bit of a subconscious bias from the referees where they're going to favour the better team or the higher ranked team, whether they realise they're doing it or not, because it's more likely that that team is in the right in any given situation. And those are the calls that we always struggle to deal with too. And I think a lot of the time, a lot of the 6 agains, like you mentioned, are those situations where the referees kind of erring on the side of caution and giving the benefit of the doubt to the better team. And it's like, oh, the Tigers are the worst team. It's their fault. They're doing the wrong thing. And those are the calls that we struggle to beat because the 50-50 calls are so frequent. We're lucky to win a challenge when, like, we feel like we're on cloud 9 when we win a captain's challenge because normally we feel like that's going to go against us too from benefit of the doubt. And it's just, that's the frustrating part.
You're right about the 50-50s, but we're not getting the 90-10s. Like, that's what bothers me. Like, there's so many obvious ones we don't get. And it's not just us, it's other teams. You probably saw the Tuivasa-Sheck try. Did you watch the Warriors and Parramatta game?
No, I didn't.
Dylan Brown got clearly taken out. He stumble. He makes an effort. He gets to Sheck, but he would have had a better opportunity to put him into touch. And I'm thinking that's coming up, no try. Like, I'm watching it live, and I'm upset too because I got Tuivasa-Sheck as an anytime try scorer. So I'm thinking it's going to get overturned, and it gets awarded a try, and I'm like, happy days. But how did that get awarded?
Anything else to touch on the game, or do you want to go player ratings?
Oh, I don't know. Do you want to, I just
the player ratings. We'll talk more about the game.
We're not going through any of the tries or anything tonight, or
Oh, there's so many fucking tries.
No, our tries.
Our tries. I didn't clip the tries.
Oh,
no,
okay,
I
fair
should have. There were some good ones. The Buller. I guess we can
No, that's
go
all right.
through.
I can look.
The short ball.
I've written a few things down that were like key moments. So, like in the first half, obviously Olam knocked the ball on the first set, which was really bad. But then
I was really nervous at that point.
Yeah, but
I missed it. I was still sitting down and having a drink of Pepsi Max and look up and they fucking dropped the ball
to
already.
Abby's credit, Abby did a good hit on Nanai shortly after, and they lost the ball. Obviously, we scored in the 4th minute from Samuel Afenu's try off a beautiful pass from Galvin. Buller's first run of the game in the 9th minute, he just gets a ball from a kick and just splits the defence straight away. Already shows what we're in for the game. 18th minute, Latu Fainu comes off, which is, I thought, really a big blow for us because obviously there's 2 positional changes for one player coming off. Dearden's try in the 19th minute wasn't a good look for Porter. That was probably the one bad thing Ruben Porter did all game because he had a sensational second half in particular. Steph did a stupid flick pass halfway through the first half, which then went to Galvin, went to Appy, and he loses the ball, and then Tuolangi scores from that. So that was a bit of a no-brainer. I've mentioned the clear disruptor that Nanai did, and then we conceded the penalty, and from that Tuolangi scored again. But then to our credit, Buller scores a beautiful try. Looked like nothing was on. He just went straight through in the 37th minute. Look, guys, I thought this was a turning point too. Given we were down, the Cowboys made a break. and Staines takes an intercept running back towards our try line, and
that led to
that led to our next try, which the Bullets try, which was from a beautiful around the corner pass from Ruben Porter.
Yep.
So that was really good. 50th minute, obviously Olam got sent off. That was another key turning point. A terrible try straight after that touch footy try where they kind of played the ball and Mel Holmes went back to Tuolangi. Drinkwater scores the next set. Holmes scores the next set. We bounced back with a magnificent try to Alamolo. That was absolutely brilliant. It was Appy switched the ball inside to Porter. That's put him through a massive hole. He got tackled by two guys, but got an offload to De Silva, gave it to Galvin, and then Galvin did that beautiful cut-out face ball to Alamolo to score. 62nd minute, Fata Ape bombed a try to Staines. He could have given it to his right, and we never got it. But then in the 63rd minute, Fata Ape does score. His attack was actually quite good the other night. Did miss 6 tackles from memory, but his attack was really strong. I've got 65th minute. Buller made a break. We've discussed that one. Love Appy. He's the best player in the club, but he throws an intercept in the 67th minute when we were down by 12, which didn't help. I've mentioned the Butler no try, but it got overturned by the bunker, or the Butler try that he gave to the Cowboys. 71st minute, I actually turned my head because we got a penalty. Do you remember who kicked the ball for touch? Was it Galvin or Appy? Not sure who kicked the touch.
I think it was Lockie.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we didn't find touch, and then from not finding touch, Drinkwater score. So
that one hurt.
That one really hurt as well. Where are we? 75th minute. Samuela scores off the goal line dropout. Thanks to Fata Ape, put a nice little grubber kick into the in goal and trapped Drinkwater there. And as we mentioned, Lockie Galvin threw that intercept in the last minute, looking for a Hail Mary play, and it went to Felt, who scored, and they wrapped up the game 48-30.
Yeah, so plenty of players that got wraps in this one. So that's last week's. I haven't updated it. I've uploaded the wrong one. Hang on.
I was about to say they don't look right.
Yeah.
I can be a week if you did put the previous week up, wouldn't
Give me a second, and I will get the right one up. But Lockie Galvin's game, so he was up there in the ratings. What are your thoughts on Lockie's game?
He had a pretty good game. Obviously, there were a few moments there that he'd probably like back, but like we've said about Lockie before, he's playing what he sees, and I think that's one of the best things about him at the moment, and he's not getting himself too down if he makes a mistake. He's just getting back in there and ripping in, and he'll try and make up for it in some way, shape, or form, and most of the time he ends up being able to do that. But, I mean, when you're chasing points, you're more than likely going to make a few mistakes as well, especially with not that long left in the game, because like Rob said, I think after the third try that they scored after Olam went off, they were up by 24 or whatever, or something along those lines, or close to it. And at that point, there's little over 20 minutes left in the game, and that's a lot of points to make up in that amount of time, especially when our attack hasn't been gelling as much as we'd probably like it to this year. So chasing points in those situations, you can probably expect a few of those mistakes. But in saying that, I thought Lockie still had a really strong game. I just like that he's backing himself.
Rob, talk about Buller a fair bit. Off the top of my head, the next highest in the ratings was talk about Ruben Porter. He was up there. I think he was quite far up there.
As I said, he missed that tackle on Dearden early in the game, which was the Cowboys' first try. But he had 124 metres, 3 offloads, 1 line break, 30 tackles, 2 missed. But his second half, he just looked like a seasoned campaigner. And it's not just, one of those hard-working toilers that makes his tackles, doesn't miss a tackle, does a good hit up, makes his 100 metres. Like, he created chances. He was the reason we scored points in the second half. This was a bloke that wouldn't have been in our team in the first half of the year. So he has come on. Again, the missed tackle on Dearden is a little bit puzzling because it's a 5'8" on a second rower. Like, you'd expect him to make that. But his second half was second to none. And I really found it hard to do the 3-2-1s this week because I pretty much got Galvin and Coruscant in our 3-2-1s every week. And as Aaron said, Galvin's just everything to me, like in terms of what he does, not just as a player. He makes everyone around him look a better player. He's got time. He's just so classy. I hope Richo can sign him up for life or do something. We might have to, do something about Isaac Moses. I don't know. Might have to kidnap him or something.
Roll him up the cup and throw him over a bridge.
Yeah, throw him in Parramatta River.
I think if Porter has a really good, really strong off season and preseason, then he's a really good chance of keeping Isaiah Papali's number 11.
He's like 27.
Yeah,
and he should be past his prime almost.
That's Cody Walker-esque. Cody Walker didn't make it till later than after 25.
Yeah, okay.
And he was playing Queensland Cup for 7 or 8 years.
I think he's got a really good chance of taking Isaiah Papali's jersey next year, or the second row jersey, not the lock jersey.
Yeah.
Right, player ratings. I have got them up now. Dream Bullard 93.1. Basically a 90% for Galvin, not far behind in second. And then a little bit further back, Ruben Porter, 86.2%, and Samuel Fainu not far behind as well. Samuel Fainu he's been consistently so good the whole year. I love watching him play. Had him in my multi, didn't get the other legs up, but had him every week. I've been riding him every week, and had him in a multi this week, but didn't get on him outright. And he was first try scorer too, wasn't he? First try scorer too. Didn't get on that.
4-0.
Yeah, I love that guy. He's fast becoming one of my favourites.
Unfortunate to miss that conversion, though. I think the Appy's first attempted conversion off that first try, because he swung it way too much. And
like my golf shots. In terms of negative,
interesting.
Just really quickly, whoever the two people who didn't tick Jareen Buller, I just want to have a few words with you. Just want to chat.
What were you watching?
Maybe they didn't vote at all. Maybe they just skipped it. Well, I think it says they have to have responded. So.
Yeah, so for these ones, they have to have ticked at least one person for it to count as a response. So 2 people who responded to it didn't tick
3
Buller.
didn't tick Lockie. It's literally tick, do you think they played well? And 3 people were like, nah, Buller didn't play well. Anyway, that's what it's about. On to the negative. One person actually ticked Buller. Someone hates Buller because someone's downvoted him as well. I could look up if it's the same person. Poor Charlie Staines, he got a 50-50. I guess because he shot out of the line to concede a try as well. I think people are a bit harsh on Staines.
People have been harsh on Charlie all year, I feel.
Yeah. I think
like I said to you before the game started, Josh, or early in the game, we were talking a little bit about the fact that Charlie's gotten a lot of hate this year, but he's handled a lot of his defensive assignments on some pretty big wingers fairly well. Like he's marked up Ravalawa, kept him fairly quiet at Campbelltown. He marked up Sevo on Easter Monday and kept him pretty quiet too. Like he's done a lot of good things.
What's he supposed to do when Fata'ape misses a tackle and it's 2-on-1?
Yeah.
Like, just because Tuolangi's got 3 tries, one of those tries, Charlie was on the ground in the second half. If he gets up and tackles him illegally, we would have been 13-11.
Also got a whack with Justin Olam and Steph. David Clemmer as well. I didn't think David Clemmer played bad. Yeah, to say he played bad, I think not well is a bit harsh, I think.
Olam looked dusty all game. You could tell he was on one leg. He was hobbling, and I think Lockie put a ball on his chest that you would have thought he'd score every day of the week, but he just wasn't 100%.
But thank you to everyone who did vote in this. I know we're bagging out your results here, but we do appreciate you
questioning, not bagging out.
Questioning.
No,
that's what it's about.
I'm bagging out. You can question.
Okay, I'll question.
I'll give you their email later. Righto, 3, 2, 1, boys. Who are your 3, 2, 1?
No surprise, I gave my 3 to Jareen Buller. He was sensational. Obviously a couple of mistakes, but every player pretty much made mistakes in this one, or did some silly / questionable things. But it was his best game for the season for us, I think, and it reminded me a lot of his form from 2023 and what he's capable of. And I hope he takes some confidence from this game and kind of builds into the rest of the season, just finishes strong and then has a really big off season again and comes into next year ready to go as part of a spine that is going to be a lot better than what we currently have, or what we had early in the season. I gave my 2 to Ruben Porter. Like Rob said, he had a brilliant game as well. I thought he was excellent. An early mistake, but he brushed himself off and like Rob said, came into the second half and absolutely blitzed it. And once again, Samuel Afenu got my 1. I thought he was brilliant as well. Really strong support runs, really good defensively, and yeah, just did a lot of good things. And I'm really keen to see how he goes next year, backing up what's been a really strong year this year. I think a lot of people are saying some of the best signings for the year have been the likes of Stephen Crichton or whoever else has been performing well at their current clubs this year. He's not getting a lot of recognition, but Sam Weller, I think, deserves a lot more. He's been brilliant.
Couldn't agree more.
So much so that you've gone the exact same 3-2-1 as that. So that doesn't happen very often. You do send them in separately.
We do send them in separately, but I've just realised I've gone 2 for Fainu and 1 for Porter.
Well, that's why they're the same. I read the same message twice from the same person.
You must have read the same message twice. But
happens to the best of us.
I went Buller. I'll go further than that. I think it was Buller's best game for the club. 2 tries, 266 metres, 3 line breaks. He was a threat all night. It's an absolute superstar performance. And from someone who has seen the glass half full a lot this year, and especially in terms of some of the future, I left there thinking, thank fuck we've got this guy at fullback next year. And I know we keep raving on about the spine, but that's one brilliant piece that we have out of 17 that, Richo keeps talking about. 2 points to Samuel Afenu. Look, he hasn't had a bad game all year, but probably the last 3 or 4 weeks where we expected like 9 out of 10 performances, he's gone so well. I think his performance level kind of went back to about 6 or 7. But I think this week he was sensational. 2 tries, 102 metres, 1 line break, 27 tackles, 1 miss. But he always looked a threat. Like, even if he didn't quite get through the line, he kind of just snuck his head through and should have earned a couple of penalties that Butler didn't want to give. And Ruben Porter, 124 metres, 3 offloads, 1 line break, 30 tackles, 2 missed. But what a second half. Like, that's just one bloke we did not expect to even be in first grade this year or next year. And he's making a case now. So he'll definitely be in that squad. And there were so many other good players. We've mentioned the Galvanator.
Someone mentioned we haven't mentioned Johansson yet.
Johansson was brilliant. That was one of the best cameos I've ever seen. It wasn't so much his numbers. He just looked like he'd played 1,000 games. His hit-ups had substance. He kind of penetrated the line. Even when I think he got a ball, it might have been from Talon de Silva in open play, and he just knew what to do with it. He had some IQ, and he just gave it to the next bloke. Made his tackles, did his runs, looked like he belonged in first grade. I'm actually surprised. I know he's on the extended bench. I've got a feeling someone's not 100% right, whether it's Twally or whatever, but I can't believe he's being dropped after that performance. I'd expect him to be in the 17 this week against Newcastle. So it was a great second half by him. But again, Appy, I thought Appy was probably one of our best players in the first half, but I don't think it helps when, and it's just the way the team was lined up, our 17 this week, but I don't think it helps when he gets shifted to halfback and then he's isolated and he ends up missing 9 tackles for the game. And I could have given points to Appy, to him, and there were plenty of other good players in our team. We wouldn't have forced a comeback with 12 players, if we didn't have a lot of good players in the team. And it's very weird saying that when we've almost had 50 put on us. So look, I just left there, feeling a little bit better, and I got a little bit of empowerment seeing this like after the game. Just sort of felt, like there's plenty to look forward to, and we'll be right.
Based on your vote, Buller got the 3, Galvin the 2, Porter the 1, and that has us at. Come on, slide. Move. There we go. So Lockie, you got a point there, so he moves to 2.5 ahead of Appy in first. Buller reeled him in a little bit. He's behind Buller. What's that there? 20 and a half. Oh, that's all right. Just a visitor. Spooked us there. She works here. That's okay. Yeah. I didn't realize she was still here. All good. We're not being murdered by someone on in the middle of our choice.
I was going to say Isaac Moses' men got here quickly.
Yeah. The live stream. Shouldn't have given out don't give out the address when you're live streaming. Where were we? Samuel Fainu up to 31.5. Surprised Steph's still sitting there in fifth because it's been quite a while since he's got a point. So, and plenty of others.
I think that shows who's regularly getting points and the fact that there aren't that many people. Well, there aren't that many players coming from the outside trying to push Stefano back out of that top five. But
Pole's 3.5.
The consistent performers.
Yeah, Pole. Might be a chance now that he's back this week.
Tell you what, after getting 9 this week, Jareem, looking at that, he could actually sneak in and take it out in the end because there's 4 games left and 9 points each week. That's 36 points left up for grabs, and
if he keeps that form up,
bit of potential there.
Galvin will get points, so he'll continue to be one of our best stats man. What have you got for us?
I have something. Where is it? So it's nothing to do with just our game in particular this week. I was kind of a little bit disappointed that the scoring across the round dried up a little bit because it was looking early on like it was really defense optional round. A lot of high scores early on. So I went and did a little bit of digging and found that the round with the highest amount of points scored was round 23, 2022, with a grand total of 466 points across 8 games. That's a lot of points. This weekend just gone, 404. But what I will say is the first 4 games of this year was a total of 266.
gosh,
And then obviously it really dried up in those last 4 games because
smash it if it kept going like that.
yeah, the total of the first 4 games in that 2022 round was 220. So for 4 games, the first 4 games this round, that was an average of 66.5 points per game.
Yeah, that
So
Roosters game crazy.
Yeah, had we
Cricket scores.
kept it going across the whole round, we would have come close to, I think, maybe 100 more points. We would have beaten that record by, but damn those 8 teams that played the back end of the round for learning how to defend.
Yeah, Dad said, I reckon my Sydney Thunder would have struggled to chase down the Roosters and who the Roosters play?
Dolphins.
Again? Dolphins.
Is that 40
Yeah.
or 34 or something?
Yeah, I've seen them score
74
less than
points.
that before. Righto, moving on to what have we got next? A few stats for you. So possession-wise, 55% to the Cowboys. Yeah, I obviously. Do you guys think that swung a little bit after because they got back-to-back tries and sets after the send-off?
It
That's
also
obviously
happened in the
stemmed from
first
that.
half. I think there was a period I rewatched the game from the 15th minute till the 25th minute. The Cowboys had something like 72% of the ball, so they were pretty. Look, our defense overall was really good. It's just that right edge that I mentioned, and obviously, like we weren't defending well after attacking kicks, which was quite surprising. The early shift by the Cowboys caught us out a few times.
Completion rate for us 29 of 39, so not very good. 33-40, not great from the Cowboys either. It did rain a little bit. Did it rain on Thursday night?
I don't remember raining.
It rained a little bit. I noticed a little bit of rain falling, but I think it might have only been in the time
A quick spray.
where Holmes was taking his first conversion attempt, and I think it might have kept going for a couple of minutes, but it stopped fairly abruptly. So that wouldn't have had any effect on the game, pretty much.
Run meters extra 200-ish to the Cows. About 24 extra runs, tackle breaks, an extra 10 for the Cows. Set distance extra 4 for the Cows. Play the ball speed. Ours are actually quicker. I do feel like we'll get a few quick play the balls. Offloads 11-8 in our favour. Maybe a few too many offloads at some points, but
A few forced ones,
yeah.
chasing points. Like I said before, you're probably going to try a little bit too hard.
The Steph one hurt.
Absolutely, it did.
Best run too.
Missed tackles 39-29. 39 is not good enough, obviously. But with 12 men, it's easy to miss more tackles. 12-7 in the errors. Penalty count, it was 7-6 in favour of the Cowboys, and 3 all in 6 against, I think, there between the...
Really?
Yeah.
Felt like they got 3-6 again
Yeah,
on that one set.
I thought they
We got
got
a couple back to
4 or something in that one little period early on, but then they made an error off the back end of one and it became a penalty instead. So I think one of them got taken off and because it got changed into that penalty.
No try.
Yeah, that was when it was the no try.
Meter leader, 266 meters for Dream Buller. A nice break and long range try will help with those numbers. Ali Marlow, 143. Lockie Galvin, 136. Post contact meters was a tie between Buller and Ali Marlow. Line breaks. We haven't talked about Ali Marlow too much. What are your thoughts? Statistics, stats wise, he's up there
in a good way, not a bad way. I didn't notice him much, which means it's okay. Like, let's face it, Felt only got that try in the 79th minute from an intercept. It wasn't Alamalo's fault. He put a good finish on the try from the Galvin pass, caught the high balls that came his direction. I don't think he did much wrong, personally. Like, it wasn't a wow game, but it's just an okay game.
Yeah, if you're not noticing players, I guess that pretty much means that while they're not doing anything extraordinary, they're doing their job, and that's probably the main thing in a team that is struggling. We want players like the lesser-known players to just be out there doing their job.
Line breaks 3 for Jareem. Hit-ups 12 for Papa. 9 tackle breaks for Jareem. Offloads 3 for Ruben, including that beautiful one that set up Jareem's try. Papa had the most tackles, 38 with 3 missed. Talon da Silva 32 and 4, and Big Red had 31 and 1. Righto, Benji Marshall presser time. Let's listen to Benji Marshall talking about the send-off.
Well, I mean, I've got a group of guys in there who are feeling pretty down about it. And I guess the easy thing for me would be able to come out and say that it was a bad decision and that he got it wrong. And a sin bin probably would have sufficed, and we've seen plenty of those this season, but I'm not going to say that.
This reminds me a lot of the Gordon Tallis to Bill Harrigan quote. He goes, what would you do if I called you a cheat? And he goes, oh, well, I'd send you off. And he goes, well, what would you do if I thought you were a cheat? Well, I couldn't do anything about that. He says, good, because I think you're a cheat. This whole Benji dodging.
Yeah, he got to say what he wanted to say.
Yeah. I'm not going to say it. I just said it, but I'm not going to say it.
Oh, that's great.
I thought he handled it well.
Yeah. I mean, a few people said he'll probably get fined. I think it was Nunes in our Discord. He might get fined for that.
He would have been fined already if that was going to happen. He would have been fined on Friday, like straight after the game.
And honestly, if he's going to get fined, I want him to get every dollar value out of the fine and absolutely torch the referees and the bunker for how they've treated us the whole year. Because Benji has shown a lot of composure for how we're being treated, and I guess that's probably a good thing, unlike some of us fans in the iChoice.
We can't get
offices. Fined. Yeah, we can't get fined. But I mean, if he starts blaming the refs, then he's making excuses for the team.
Yeah.
So he's doing the right thing by the team, by the club, by everyone.
Because there's little hints,
and
little
for
hints
himself. But I mean, it's getting to the point. Like, how many times do we have to meet with the referees? Apparently, we've written to the referees. We've met with the referees. We're going to employ someone from the referees shortly. Whatever we do doesn't seem to work. So
we need to ask Ricky Stewart about his ways, how he, for the most part, avoids fines. But in saying that, he still cops a lot.
Yeah.
Righto, here is Benji talking about the effort of the boys.
That there's so much pride and heart in our team, how much they want to play for each other. To be able to compete to the end there like that, given we're 12 men with the send-off and still be fighting to the death, shows how much the jersey means to these blokes. And, as a coaching staff, we asked for 80 minutes of competing tonight, and they gave it. So some things were out of our hands, but the fight they showed, as a coach, just really proud.
Rob, so yeah, plenty of positivity from Benji in this press conference. And, I mean, you've come away from this game kind of feeling the same. And it is tough being in the bottom of the table, but yeah, what are your thoughts on Benji's words?
I agreed with everything he said in the 4.5 minutes that I heard of his press conference. He didn't miss a beat. I did come away like feeling proud, but at the same time, like I said to you guys earlier in the year, with a young team, you're going to get weeks like this where they absolutely rip in and give everything, and there's going to be other weeks where they'll probably do the same thing and it'll just look uglier and it won't be as positive. So there's going to be some bad weeks, and we just got to accept those. But I felt like it was a good week, and whatever Benji said to the team at halftime, something worked, because it was a different team after halftime. We really let the game go in that last 21 minutes of the first half, from being up 4-0, and then them getting 18 points in a row before us scoring late again in that first half. So look, it was a inspiring performance, and like I said, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I'm pretty sure you guys felt the same way. When you get shafted, when you get like continuously stuck getting it stuck to you by the refs, and you see the boys rip in, and you see Jareem Buller having a lifetime game, and other guys, Ruben Porter's best game for the club, Samuela having the same game that he's probably had about 7 or 8 times this year, all the other guys chipping in. I mean, I was proud of that, because I honestly thought when they got those 3 tries in 6 minutes, they're going to get 60, maybe 70 points. And suddenly we not only turned off the tap, we came back at them, and they had to kill a bit of time off the clock and just be a little bit more conservative when they were up by 12 and not do anything fancy, where they were a little bit cocky sort of 10 or 15 minutes earlier. And how we made those breaks having one less man was just incredible. So look, again, I was just, I don't like seeing the boys get shafted, but the way they ripped in, the way they fought back, I felt proud. I know, we're always sort of clutching at little victories or little wins or ways to keep our sanity and try and put a positive spin on things. But I think there should be a genuine reason to feel happy about that performance. If you want to be super critical, the right edge first half was pretty poor, but we made some mistakes and we had some refereeing decisions that led to those being in those positions where we could concede points. Like that disruptor, that cost us 6 points. That's a penalty to us, and we're down the other end of the field, maybe scoring a try. Instead, they score a try 4 tackles later. So, look, proud of the boys. I wasn't going to go to the game till Richo fired me up with his 31-minute podcast on Behind the Roar, and I thought, you know what, fuck this, I'm going to the game, and I'm really glad I went to the game. Went with my son. Started with you guys, went up sitting with my cousins a bit further up. And, it was just good to be a lunatic and get those emotions sort of pumping and abusing refs and being me.
And shouts to the few people who did say hi to us and said they were looking forward to the show tonight. Someone did mention, I didn't grab his name, but he was sitting behind us, said we should have went live straight after the game to fire up about
chance.
that. But
mate, we would have been
not with the state I was in as well.
I would have been deported. Seriously, I would have been deported out of the country. I think you guys heard me, and you probably took 3 steps back.
I had kind of the opposite response towards the back end of the game to Rob. For those that don't know, I ended up with my head in my hands after they scored their second of those 3 tries after Olam went off, and I saw us score. I looked up every now and then, and when the crowd were getting into it, I kind of looked up and hoped that we were doing something cool. So I did see fair chunks of the back end of the game, but I was an emotional mess after this one. I was really struggling to feel any sort of optimism in regards to how we constantly get shafted and how does that continue, or how that's likely to continue even next year after we get Luai and Taruva and whoever else might be coming to us over the off season. But Rob had a few words to me. Josh did as well as we were walking out, and I was sobbing still at that point. I just got so emotional because I'm so invested in the team and I want to see them do well. And like I said before, I just want them to have a fair go. And when we're not getting that week after week, it's tough to watch. And this being my 9th year as a member, I'm looking forward to year number 10 next year, because obviously that's a big milestone and it's a commitment that I've put myself in for quite some time, and I like the idea of reaching that milestone. But I had a little bit of a thought over the weekend. I don't know if I'm going to continue after next year. I want to see next year out, but then I'm not sure. And I'm really hoping that some good comes out of the team's performances next year to keep me invested, because it was just a real moment for me on Thursday night where I started to really question whether I'm doing the right thing by myself, by my loved ones and things like that, about getting myself so invested, because the frustration takes its toll on me, and things like that. So it was a bit of a rough afternoon, and I did a little bit of soul searching over the weekend, and I'm just hoping we see some more positive signs over the back end of the year. I'd love to see if we can avoid the spoon, although Parramatta's win on Friday makes that a lot more complicated now. So yeah, we need 2 wins, including beating them.
And them not winning another game.
Yeah.
Well, have they got a bye left?
They've had their last bye. We've got a bye still. So
Do we have a bye now?
Yeah, we're going to bye left.
we have a third bye in round 26. So we've got 2 more, the 3 more games. We've got the Knights this week. We've got the Rabbits next week. We've got Manly after that, and then we've got our bye, and then we have our wooden spoon face off against Para.
So I think everyone's got to deal with being a supporter in whatever way it is that keeps your sanity. I've got friends and cousins that don't even look at the draw now. They'll wait to see when they're putting their footy tips in to see who we're playing. They'd normally be looking 4 or 5 weeks ahead. I've done some things. I'm off certain social media platforms. I'm not spending as much time on social media. Like, I'm just doing what I can to just keep a positive spin on, not get too, because if you're thinking footy 7 days a week, and obviously there's more to life than footy, but if you just keep looking back on these last 13 years of not making the finals, it's absolutely depressing. But instead of thinking, we want to make the finals next year or the year after or the year after, like, as a club, we've just got to get the process right. The process is getting new players and developing the ones we've got and making them better players, and then working to our systems and improving those systems. And if all those things improve, you get the wins. But, we just can't think, we want the 2 points, we want the 2 points. Like, I don't want to have one good year next year and have 5 shit ones after that, just to say, we made the finals and, we've ended the drought. Who cares? We want to try and build as a club. And I know Richo wants to do this. He wants us to be a regular powerhouse, pretty much like how he got South to pretty much make the finals ever since they won the comp. They've hardly missed the finals. They've probably missed 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, his South fans complaining they keep making prelims
they
and
want
losing.
to sack the coach when they come 9th or 10th. And, if we came 9th or 10th this year, it'd be, Benji's a great coach and all this sort of stuff. So I just think deal with it however you want to deal with it and whatever keeps you sane. But the reality is we love this club. We love the team. We love the colours. We love our history, whether you come from the or Balmain or just neither and you're just a West Tigers fan, and we're not going to go for another team. And if it means, you don't want to watch the game for a few weeks or you want to log off for the rest of the year, everyone will come back. When we start doing well, we pack the grounds. We saw it in 2005. We saw it in 10. We saw it in 11. Okay, when the Tigers are going good, everything's going good. So just, look, we've waited this long, man. If it takes another 2 or 3 years, it is what it is. I don't care. I just want to see some, I just want to go to the footy and just the boys to be competitive.
We'll go through some burnouts.
A lot of people are saying rugby league's in a better place now that the Bulldogs are going well again, but I feel like it's the same thing with the Tigers. Like you said, look how good things were and how fun and exciting things were when the Tigers were doing well. And since then, we've been struggling and we're not packing out our suburban grounds as much as we probably would have.
Well, it's funny, yesterday I thought to myself, I'll go to the Cogra game. Like, knowing St George were playing Canterbury, I said, I want to go to the game. Half an hour later, I found out it was sold out.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking to myself, would I have gone to Allianz to watch it, or whatever you call it, the one at Homebush? And truth is, I probably wouldn't have gone to Homebush to watch it. I'd rather watch it on TV. But if it was at a suburban crowd and I could get in, because I love that tribalism. I love I just love it. And I know,
we're talking about how much we hate the Bulldogs, but
no, but
I looked at Belmore and I envied Belmore on Sunday. Looking at Belmore, it was very cool.
Yeah.
Good on them.
Can you imagine how hard Leichhardt's going to be pumping if we have like a final round game in 2 or 3 years' time? Or even next year, and say we get to the finals.
We saw it
and Canberra.
I took photos of the line outside on Mary Street, and it was beautiful. It was just a sea of orange, black, and white. And no, that was. I mean, we lost that day, but that pre-game hype—that's one of the best feelings I've had in years. Just
think about how special that'll be again when we do make it. If we have a final, a week 1 final, hosting at Leichhardt or something, imagine how much the place is going to be rocking. Like, I don't know if it's going to be next year or the year after. I'm trying to get to the point now where I'm trying to condition myself into thinking we're not going to make finals next year. Hopefully we get a little bit closer, because I don't want to be let down as hard, but I do obviously hope there are going to be some improvements, despite the fact that there'll be growing pains with the new spine and Luai and whatever he's going to bring to the team. But I'm still trying to keep my expectations somewhat low so that hopefully I can be pleasantly surprised instead. So
we'll be right. I think once the boys learn how to win, and I'm sure they're sick of losing already. Once we learn as a club how to win consistently, we will keep winning. It's just we've just got to learn how to win. How to, like we struggle to win 3 games in a row. It's always like, oh, can we back it up and win 2 games in a row? I think once the boys learn how to win, add that Luai factor. Let's hope he's healthy and brings his A game to the club and does what he's doing this year. We've seen this year he can be a major playmaker for Penrith and still do great things. So, look, that's what I'm trying to pin my hopes on. But more importantly, we got to find a way to lock the Galvanator up. Like the Galvanator is the future of this club, and we've got a lot of good young pieces there as well with Buller, with Talon De Silva coming through, Latu. There's some good kids coming through. We just got to make them want to stay, and they, I wouldn't blame them for not wanting to be part of a losing culture. So we've got to get a winning culture happening. We've got to get it happening bloody fast.
Quick question for you, Rob. Do you think Appy retains the captaincy next year and Luai gets the VC? Maybe.
For me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, you got to have Appy till he retires.
But I'm sure Luai would be the VC.
He'll be leadership group at the very least.
And possibly, just out of respecting, it might even be something where Appy kind of wants to sort of take a bit of a backseat. Maybe they'll be co-captains. But the way I see it now, Appy's an absolute inspiration. It'd be an absolute disgrace if you had the captaincy taken off him.
Unless he chooses to.
Unless he chooses to. But Appy's that sort of selfless guy that he will do anything that's best for the club, whether it's play at halfback or play off the bench or do whatever. But Appy's.
We still need his leadership.
We still, and
no matter what Luai's going to bring to the club, we still need Appy's leadership.
Appy leads by his actions. We just need Appy. We need to look after Appy, nurture Appy, look after that calf, look after his body. He's getting on in years. We want to get the quality games that we've got. Like, it's just a shame. Appy's, I think, 2 of the best years of his career, and he's ended up with wooden spoons. I think he's played better with us than he did with Penrith.
I agree.
Because he has to do more at our club. He has to go to that full bag of tricks. He didn't have to do that at Penrith.
He just had to do his role.
He's got Luai on the other side. He had the Kickouts and the Crichtons and the Edwards and all those.
The Yos
of the world. So he didn't have to do as much. He just played like a Melbourne role almost, like this is your role. You just have to do this. But with us, he's got to do so much more because we are so much more deficient as a team. So I think his best 2 years of his career have been the last 2 years, and he's ended up with wooden spoons. And if there's a rugby league god, he'll turn it around for him, for us, for everyone. We need something going our way for once.
Righto, moving forward, Sunday afternoon, 4 o'clock, we are playing the Newcastle Knights. Run us through the West Tigers team list, as.
All right, so Jareem Buller is at fullback with Solomon Aliamalo and Charlie Staines on the wings. Solomon Fa'atape is in the centres along with Adam Dewey. Lockie Galvin and Aidan Caesar are in the halves. Stefano Utoikamanu and David Clemmer are the front rowers with Appy Coruscant at hooker. Ruben Porter and Samuel Afenu are the second rowers with Isaiah Papali'i at lock. Talon De Silva, Alex Seyfarth, Fanua Pole and Alex Twal are the bench. Heath Mason is 18th man. Tim Johansson, Josh Felady, Declan Casey and Tony Sukar are the reserves.
Right, thoughts on the changes in this one? Obviously, your man Adam Dwayne back in the centres. Rob?
Yeah, Adam's back. It's just going to be. I'd love a reporter. Instead of asking, what the players are having for breakfast or who they're dating on the weekend or whatever, why don't they just ask? Is Adam going to play left centre or right centre, or is Fataapa going to play left or right? Because I'd like to know those things. They're things that
would Benji answer it?
Interest me? No, because we got a second rower in the centres for Newcastle when we go through the Newcastle team. So I'm just curious who he'd put on who. Like I don't know. Like Gagai's a very strong player, so you probably want to have your best defender on him. And unfortunately, both our centres recently haven't defended very well. So look. No surprises there except for the fact that Johansson's not named in that 17 because I thought he deserved to keep his place. Obviously, Bolle's got to come back in. Look, Alex Twal did come off with some sort of knock the other day. So coming up...
Dislocated finger, I think it was.
Is that all it was? Okay, well, I wasn't sure. I thought he might have had a head knock or something. But look, I'd like to see Johansson get another game. But look, again, suddenly we've gone from looking like we've got no depth, where you've got a Johansson all of a sudden who's, what is he, 22 years of age or something like that. He's quite young. So, look, it's just good that we're finding out who can play and who can't play in these last few games of the year. And that really should be our objective now, to just keep giving some different players some game time, not fiddling around with the combinations too much. I don't know. I mean, I think Adam's a right side of the field player, but given how Fata Ape attacked the other day, he might keep him there. But then again, given how he defended, I don't know. So I'll leave that to Appy. Yeah, but it'd be nice to know who's playing on what side, because we keep flipping these centres around and we never seem to have the same number 2 to 5 every week.
Aiden Caesar's back as.
Yeah, this was kind of to be expected, I guess, with Latu being out with a head knock. He'll be out this week, guaranteed, maybe next week as well, because the club does seem to have been a little bit more conservative on the side of the HIAs and the stand-down periods this year. He'll bring a lot of, I guess, leadership possibly back to the team, guiding the team around. He's just got to fix up his discipline as well, because he's been suspended twice now for fairly long periods of time for incidents that he should, at his age and his level of experience, he shouldn't be doing. But if he can stay on the field, he'll be a really good asset to Lockie and some of the other youngsters in the team this week.
Other change. What's the other change in there? There's one more
For us,
Polly
Polly to the bench. You did mention that,
Polly for
Rob.
Johansson.
Yeah. It's a big in, Polly.
It's a great in.
Yeah, how far off so who are we missing at the moment? How far off our strongest squad?
Junior Tupou, I thought, was a chance of coming back this week based on the members' injury report last week.
Was he named in Cup?
I haven't checked
seeing him.
Yeah.
No, I haven't checked the Cup team list.
I did. I don't remember seeing his name.
Okay. There was someone else I'm thinking of whose name has eluded me, but
no, he's named for the Magpies.
Oh, he is.
Junior Tupou is named for the Magpies this week.
Okay. Maybe he's playing there because he's not going to be here at the club next year. But
put him back in first grade anyway. He's gone.
Yeah.
Just let him go.
Yeah.
Oh, Jimmy Nukluk, the Papua New Guinean, named on the wing.
Ngutlik.
Nukluk, that's the one. God, you're good. Yeah, that guy.
SBS Aaron.
I've got to have some sort of role, don't I?
SBS reporter.
George Danikian.
No, I'm thinking of the other guy. And Anton Enos.
There's one pronunciation of a word that I'll never be able to get right, and it's the town in Welsh with the world's longest name, Landfair. It starts with, and it's just
Cardiff?
something like 63 characters long or something like that. It is huge. I'll send you the YouTube video of it later so you can listen to this. I think it's a weather reporter from England or something who has a crack at it. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the Cup team. We'll talk about Cup later on, but God, that was awful on Sunday afternoon. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how a couple of those players go, but we will get to that. Run us through the Newcastle Knights, please, Mr. Thompson.
All right, Kalen Ponga is at fullback. Fletcher Sharp and Greg Marziu are the wingers, with Dane Gagai and Dylan Lucas in the centres. Tyson Gamble is in the halves with Phoenix Crossland. Daniel and Leo Thompson are the front rowers, with Jaden Brayley at hooker. Tyson Frizzell and Kai Pearce-Paul are the second rowers, with Adam Elliott at lock. Jack Cogger, Matt Croker, Jack Hetherington and Brady Jones are the bench. Thomas Cant is 18th man. Sebastian Sewer, Jackson Hastings, Will Price and Christian Mapapalangi are the reserves.
Where do we start? Callum Ponga, obviously. How long has he been back for?
5, 6 weeks.
The week before Origin, maybe less.
Oh,
it was the weekend, the round before State of Origin was selected.
Well, that was
shows how much attention.
Yeah, that the last round before Origin selections was round 18. So
okay, yeah, so what's that?
Yeah,
4 weeks, close enough.
Thereabouts. Yeah.
Our old friend Jackson Hastings not getting in the 17. That's interesting.
He got dropped the week before,
Yeah.
but apparently he had a good game in Cup, playing as lock last week.
Didn't we talk about doing that?
That was
in the day?
Sheens wanted to have him there permanently,
Yeah.
which was a dumb thing. But
Anyone else in that side? You were talking about matchups in the centres earlier. Rob. But
Oh, Gagai is always a handful, but I think there was only 2 words you needed to mention, Josh.
Kalen Ponga,
He always scores against us.
Mm.
He always seems to
when he's not
carve
knocked
us
out.
up.
We also always seem to get Queensland Dane Gagai as opposed to Clubland Dane Gagai whenever he plays against us. Like, he's a
I
nightmare.
did watch the game against Penrith. Look, let's face it, guys. They played away from home. They held Penrith to 22 and they scored 14. Like, it's actually quite a respectable loss.
And that was losing Jacob Saifiti in the warm-up too,
That's
which
right.
was a huge out.
That's
Are they
right.
mathematically chance?
Yes.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, but they can still make finals.
They can still make the finals. I mean,
Mm.
I know the Knights have had a 7-day backup, but like we've got an 11-day backup, so we've actually had a bloody good rest. I did watch the game on Sunday. I thought both their wingers were really strong. Marju was really good, but that Fletcher Sharp, I didn't realise how quick he is off the mark. Some of the dummy half runs he made were really strong. So Alamelo is going to have to keep an eye on him because that's who he'll be up against. Like, that's a bit of a makeshift half combination. Crossland's played everywhere this year, halfback, hooker, lock. They move him around. David Saifiti scored a try against Penrith the other day. Frizzell's a former Origin player. Elliott, Kai Paul Peace. They've got good players there. Look, if we can just back up what we did the other day, keep 13 on the field, which is a huge obstacle for us, and then have a ref that's 50-50, which is another huge obstacle for us, we have a mathematical chance of winning the game. So, I think if we get a fair crack, we're right in this. And I hope the boys took some confidence from last Thursday night. Not sure if I'm actually venturing out to the game. I have planned to go with my son, but
Up to Newcastle?
Yeah, but I've got another son who's trying to corrupt me into a game of golf. And it's his only
Play golf in Newcastle.
Yeah, that's how we go.
Yeah.
But,
Tyson Frizzell is probably one of their players who worries me the most with what he's capable of when he's at full fitness and when he's running hard. He scored a try off a bit of a forward pass in the game, but his runs and his carries are as strong as they've ever been. So against our, I guess, less experienced second rowers and our halves, there's always a chance that he's going to probably stampede over and score a try against us. But yeah, his carries whenever he gets the ball, he's a very strong ball runner. He's always tough to bring down. Jack Hetherington as well off the bench. We're going to have to watch out for him. Like, there's a lot of talent in this Knights team, and I'm surprised they're as low down the ladder as they are at the moment.
yeah, they've struggled for a long time now.
Kylie asked who's reffing and in the bunker. Do they announce that?
I was just going to ask Aaron that.
I remember off the top of my head who our referee is, but I don't know who's in the bunker.
Who's our ref?
Our referee is Belinda Sharp.
She's a good one. She's good. She's all right. She's
She's the better of the two, definitely, of the two females.
Here we go. Jared Sutton is in the bunker for us.
What fuck up has he done this year for us, Sutton?
Oh, I could probably think of one if I went back through and checked every game he was a ref for us. But there'd be at least one.
The refs have been very consistent with us this year.
Yeah, they hate them all.
He rammed us every year.
I don't think Belinda Sharp.
Consistently harsh.
Has Belinda Sharp done a West Tigers game before?
Yeah, she did the Cowboys game that we lost 42-28 up in North Queensland. That she definitely did the middle that night, 100%, because she actually had a really good game. And trust me, I pay attention to female refs this year.
This year, yeah.
And also her debut game as a solo on-field ref last year in our last round match against Manly, where Manly were throwing gridiron passes that were being allowed for tries, was a bit concerning.
Our record at Newcastle also got up on the screen now. Our recent game, but all our games, I think it's every single game at Newcastle. So we were going all right there. Between 17 and 21, we were 4 out of 5, but lost the last couple, unfortunately. I've seen a couple. I can't remember what year was it. I think it was 20.
I've been up there for a couple of games.
I'm trying to think what year. I think I went up there 2012, possibly. I've been to a couple of them.
I was there for our 2019 game because that was Robbie Farah's 300th. That was a brilliant game. Awesome to see Robbie score a try.
And Benji.
To celebrate the milestone. And Benji as well.
That night with a step.
I think I might have been there in the 2018. Oh, no. I might have been there for the 2018 one as well, but I know I was definitely there for the 2019 game. So that was a really good one to be a part of.
I can't remember. I have seen us play there a few times. I've seen so many games now. It's pushing other games out of my head. Righto, comment time. Who picked David Grant's?
No, I didn't pick. I told you that's one we can't read out. Didn't I? We can read out, or you can.
Or is this? Did I leave it? David's. Is this last week?
That's last week's.
No, it's the one you said don't read. It was on the screen for a second there. People couldn't
David,
read
if
it.
you're watching or you're listening,
Yeah,
it wasn't that we didn't agree with everything you said. It's just you made me look like a librarian.
Yeah.
So-
Doreen.
No, that was one of the ones I suggested. David Grant's.
Oh, you did you?
Yeah, David
Alright.
Grant and Doreen were the two I sent through.
As where you go.
Okay.
With the Titans going as poorly as Hasler's hairdresser, Broncos heading south quicker than Alf's bank balance at the pub, and the Dolphins going down quicker than a $2 hooker with a $20 tip, the referee was always going to give the Cowboys the necessary BJ to get them home, so Queensland have a team in the finals. Ridiculous six agains, a farcical send-off, 3 potential Cowboy sin bins ignored, and a blatant obstruction try given despite a no-try call sent upstairs. The NRL continue to shoot itself in the foot with ridiculous officiating that's making it very, very hard to enjoy. Another good game fucked by the bunker, and no lube was used. Fucking fuming. There were probably a few things in there that maybe could have been cut out a little bit, but well.
We're going to see Jim Jeffries live next week, so I guess it's not funny.
I
Jim
did
Jeffries
not
is
stop
playing.
laughing when I read that last night.
Neither could I.
Jim Jeffries is playing in Newcastle Saturday night before the Tigers game. Funny enough, because I was considering
We're
going
seeing
up.
him next Wednesday.
Yeah, so I just said that. Yeah, that's next.
Where
week,
was my invite?
I got invited by someone else. I'm not going with Josh.
You've been on his TV shows, so
Yeah, there you go.
I didn't get to yes, but I didn't get to chat to him.
There was a 1%
that was a bit
chance of
harsh.
us inviting you. Let me tell you.
Doreen, who was Doreen?
That was me as well. Yeah.
As well.
I was okay until the send-off. Boy, did my blood pressure go off the Richter scale. I was fucking filthy, ruined the rest of the game, but so proud of the boys for firing up and not giving up. Stayed back to see the boys and they were gutted. Olam was still steaming and apologised for not smiling for photos. Richardson was furious. I asked him what the F is he going to do about this bullshit bias crap we keep copying, and he said words will be spoken, but was so proud of the boys. He was not happy. I watched the replay now that my blood pressure is normal again. 3 times there was a time that a Cowgirl should have been binned for professional fouls, but he let all of them go. Only the Cowgirls fans and staff would think that game was ref fairly. Please let this season be done. West Tigers for life. I like that one because of the extra little bit in there at the top about how the team was feeling and how Olam was feeling after the game, and obviously how much it affected the team.
Righto, on to your selections, Roberto. Paul Rogers.
Okay, let's concentrate on the positives. We have the nucleus of a very competitive team. Galvin, Buller, Luai, Bolle, the Fainus, De Silva have plenty of potential. Porter looks like a first grader, and a good debut from Johansson. Benji and Richo have a big off-season ahead, securing an experienced assistant and making sure we use the war chest wisely to get some quality outside backs and a top-notch middle. Butler and Klein can go suck a fat one.
Really feeling themselves, our commenters this week. And then James.
Hard to go past JB, Doreen Buller, for man of the match, but Samuela, Fainu, Porter and Johansson all deserve a mention. The only person I have singled out for poor play is Staines. I don't know why, James. I didn't read that part. His defence was woeful. Our experienced forwards were shown up again by the rookies. I think Richo is right. We need to find 3 quality forwards or 2 and a centre who are up for the fight. The send-off of Olam was ridiculous, and already we've seen other tackles which were worse treated less seriously. It's a fucking joke. But our young guys stayed strong, and frustratingly, this is yet another game we could have won if it not were for a couple of so-so calls, a few unforced errors, and a bomb try or 2. A loss that does not feel like a loss.
Good on you, James. Our tips. I'm not sure why Az isn't showing up there. I definitely put Az is in there. I'll fix that in a second. What are we feeling for
our game?
For our game. Start with our game as I...
Start with the last game first, eh?
Are we the last game, are we?
We're the last game,
There's
4:05 on Sunday afternoon. Look, it's hard to tip the Knights. It's hard to tip the Tigers when we're away from home, period. And given we're coming last, I thought the Knights' form was pretty solid against Penrith. I don't know. I just think we're going to play well, and we're just going to get touched up by some bad decisions. I'm that sort of scarred now. We can definitely win the game, but as usual, I'm going to tip the other team. So I'm going to tip Newcastle on the back of another. Ponga will probably have his one decent game for the year against us.
Not sure why your tips aren't showing us. Sorry about that.
Well, I can bring up the picture. And
You must have had a bad week, did you?
No, actually, no, I got 4. I got 4. That's not too
I got
bad.
6.
I mean, you tipped the Cowboys. I tipped the Tigers. That was one of my stuff ups.
I tipped Para as well against New Zealand.
Yeah, you maniac.
Yeah.
All right, first game of the round, Storm? Yeah, Storm and Rabbitohs at a core stadium Thursday night. The Bunnies are $5 in this one. Sean Ball, Storm?
I'm going Storm. There are a couple of key outs and key ins. In particular for the Storm, Katoa is out, their second rower. He got injured on the weekend. And for the Rabbitohs, Cody Walker is back. I don't think it's enough to beat the Storm, and the Storm don't often lose 2 in a row, but I think
14
South will put up a better fight than they did last weekend.
14.5 start on Chase Bet.
Aaron?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think the Storm are going to lose 2 in a row. Obviously, they're going to need to bounce back. They've got a massive matchup against the Panthers next round, so that's probably going to decide the minor premiership. So the Storm definitely don't want to lose this one, and Bellamy will shove a rocket so far up their ass that they probably won't lose this one. And I think South season is done now too, so Melbourne obviously probably want to finish top, have a slightly easier path through the finals. Better chance of not having to see Penrith again until the grand final is the most likely thing there. So, yeah, I think the Storm will win this one and win it fairly comfortably.
The Gold Coast Titans, $1.50 favourites against the Sharks. Some of the Sharks, they started off the season like front runners, and
they were, I think, 10 wins and 1 loss after Magic Round, and that one loss was us.
One loss,
yeah. Never would have picked that in a million years.
Yeah, look, I've gone the Titans, but this is, they're both a little bit hit and miss, these teams. The Titans are missing Beau Fermor this year. He got injured late in the game last weekend, and Cronulla have a key out. They're missing Braden Trindle, their halfback. So that's caused a bit of a shuffle. Their hooker, Brayley's gone to halfback. Just on the back of that, losing their halfback, I've tipped the Titans. But again, they're playing well, the Titans, but they beat up Broncos who lost Payne Haas early and Ezra Mam just before halftime. So I think the safe bet is to go Titans, but I wouldn't touch that game with a 20-foot pole.
The Parramatta Eels, Friday nights, Penrith. Para normally put up a good fight against Penrith.
They do.
5.75.
They do. That's
Mitch Moses is normally the reason why they put up such a good fight. And without him, I see this one potentially going south for Para fairly quickly. I mean, they put up a really good. They put up a really good fight against the Storm a couple of weeks ago when I thought they were going to get absolutely blasted. But this is a much tougher assignment. Nathan Cleary's come back. He's in some really solid form, and I don't see them finding much of a way to win this one.
Penrith 1-12 for me.
Raiders at home are underdogs against Manly. I was tempted to go the Raiders in this one at home, but Manly, I guess, are in bit better form.
Yeah, I'm going Manly in particular if Garrick is back. Whether he's back or not officially, he's meant to have had a concussion, and they got a big in with Ola Kawadu back this week, who got suspended. So I'm going to go with them. Canberra a bit hit and miss. Look, their form was pretty reasonable against Canterbury the other night because Canterbury are travelling well, and they only lost by a very small margin. But again, a game I wouldn't touch. But if I had to pick someone, I'd pick Manly. But zero confidence. Big chance of Golden Point that one.
I'm actually going the Raiders in this one. I think they're celebrating Josh Papali's 300th at home. Obviously, it's 301, but it was an away game last week and not much of a celebration. Just on that as well, normally the NRL at whatever ground they're playing at for a 300 game, home or away, they turn the 30 line into a 300 line. And I was really disappointed that they didn't do that at Belmore. I don't know if that's the Dogs doing or the NRL decided to ditch it for Women in League round or whatever, but I was a little bit bummed that they didn't put as much effort into celebrating the milestone like they normally do. But
doesn't Ricky Stewart normally rest the players so they can have their 300th game in Canberra?
Yeah, normally Jared Croker last year. Yeah. I'm just backing Canberra. I think for the occasion, in front of a home crowd. It's obviously going to be a tough game against Manly, but I'm backing them for the upset.
Okay.
Bulldogs fans got to do a few burnouts, made a few zeros for him.
Savage got left
outside
out
the
last
ground.
week too. They're playing him back this week. He was 18th man for some reason. Not Savage.
Strange.
Strange.
Yeah, he was in my
Strange.
super coach team, and I'm really glad I checked because otherwise I would have had a non-scoring player there. So
Screwed me. Yeah, let me tell you, I left him in. I didn't realise.
Cows, after beating us last week, pretty heavy favourites, still 45 at home against the Broncos. Oh, Broncos playing on a Saturday. Unlucky Brisbane on a Friday night for once.
Yeah, I'm tipping the Cowboys just for the pure fact that I think the Broncos have just shut up shop.
Yeah.
They've got injuries galore. They don't seem to be interested.
Crazy.
They still have enough points in them to trouble the Cowboys. But yeah, I especially given the extra rest and what have you, I think Cowboys have got too much to play for. And my tip to win the premiership are done and dusted already.
mine too.
Broncos are out.
Mm.
And just on the Cowboys, I'm just
think
going to
that's
go
the
back
same.
to our game real quick against them. You guys might remember I said in our preview last week that I reckon both teams would crack 30.
Yep.
I was right. I'm a genius for once in my life.
Astronomers.
Dragons. I've gone Dragons for the upset at Cogra in this one. Sold out crowd. I don't know. Maybe because I hate the Bulldogs, but
I definitely want to take a draw for this game.
Yeah.
I couldn't split it. I took Canterbury just because they got a bit more, I don't know, bit more resilience and a bit more strike. The Dragons have often a hard time of doing it twice in a row. So, but again,
They're riding such a high at the moment, the Dogs too.
Super tight game at Cogra. Saints are going to lift too. Like, it's going to be a great game. I'd love to be there. But yeah, just because I had to tip someone, I tipped Canterbury, but absolutely zero confidence.
I wonder if Wollongong has a bigger ground capacity than Cogra.
probably not.
Probably not.
Cogra-
Probably
Cogra
close to
is-
similar.
Tell you what,
Cogra is almost like a cricket
They
ground.
would have got over 50,000. Homebush.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
like it's
they
a
would.
bit of
I
a-
think they would sell out Allianz as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've gone the Dolphins heavy favourites against the Wars. Poor old Wars. Yeah. Where is this one? KO Stadium.
Suncorp.
One of their 1,000 home grounds. How many home grounds do you need?
This one's at Suncorp.
Yeah. Fins up.
Yeah, I've gone Dolphins. Warriors, I don't know. They just seem to be not the same team as last year. And we should mention too, Sean Johnson announced his retirement
Yeah.
this week. So I don't know, maybe they'll live for that. But
Mm.
another bit of an iffy game. But gee, the Dolphins have got too much to play for. They have to win this. So, and they've had a pretty bad run. I guess scoring 34 against the Roosters is pretty good form, even though their defense was pretty crappy. So I think the wise thing would be to take the Dolphins, but anything could happen there again.
Yeah, I've gone the Dolphins as well. I think they've got a little bit more to play for. They've got a couple of teams just underneath them outside the top 8 who they want to keep at bay. So big game for them to win. The Warriors, I feel really sad for the Warriors because it just seems to have been a little bit of a trend the last few years where one team that's come out of absolutely nowhere to make the finals or make the top 4 have just fallen off a cliff the following year.
Like the Cowboys.
Sold out every
Yeah.
game too.
Yeah, they've sold out every home game this year, which I think is an amazing achievement and well done to their fans.
Well done, yeah.
Also, super quickly, congratulations on an incredible career to the retiring Sean Johnson. Rugby league will be a little bit of a sadder place without him next year, but I hope for his sake the team can send him out on a high. I think they've got a few more home games to go, including one against the Dogs in the final round. So I'm sure, or actually in round 26 because they've got the bye in the final round.
He's
So
probably the only bloke that's got a highlight reel that is anything like Benji Marshall's, like the closest one.
yeah, it's the New Zealanders doing it, just putting their country on their backs and representing them proudly. So yeah, I hope the Warriors can finish their season on a high for him, but unfortunately their season's dead and buried and the Dolphins have a bit more to play for.
Right, as NRLW, the girls, they started well against the Titans, but yeah, the Titans ran away with it in the end.
Yeah, this was a really unfortunate one. There were a lot of really good things that the team were doing in the first half. The main concerns for me were how bad our right side defense was in allowing the Titans winger to score a hat trick. That was
so good.
oh,
She's centre, isn't she? Jamie Chapman.
Jamie Chapman. Yeah,
Yeah,
or
she
center
played
or
left
winger.
centre, yeah.
Yeah. So she had an absolute blinder of a game, and we just couldn't handle her. I think Rakia probably made a few errors coming in, compressing the line a bit more than she probably should have. And just gave her too much space. But there were a lot of good things to like. Lozana Lutu's try was absolutely sensational.
Cracker.
That was so frigging good. Kezi Apps always seems to carry the team on her back.
But the way Lasana finished that try, like the steps.
had the Titans girls falling all over each other as well. It was that good.
It was really good.
Yeah, it was. There were, like I said, a few good signs, a few things to be worked on over the coming rounds. It's just a shame that the season's so short that 2 losses almost rules us out of finals, because you need to win. With only 4 teams out of 10 making finals, you need to win probably 6 games, which is what it was last year. With 2 losses under our belts already, we can really only afford to lose 1 more, and we've still got to play the Knights. We've still got to play the Roosters, who towed us up last year. We've still got to play the Broncos, who've been a powerhouse. So it's really unfortunate. It's just we're too far on the back foot too early, but I do want to see how they go for the rest of the year. Hopefully good building for next year. I just wish the season was longer. I think in a team or in a comp where you've only got 10 teams, 9 teams you have to play against, I really feel like you should be playing every team twice to make it a nice and fair draw. And the fact that 2 seasons in for our club, we've only had 4 home games each year, while some clubs obviously get 5 home games, others get 4. I would have thought that after getting 4 last year, we'd get 5 this year to kind of even things out a bit, but that scheduling hopefully gets fixed up into next year too with the 2 extra teams. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame the season's as short as it is, but yeah, I'm looking forward to watching this one on Saturday. I'm sure we'll put in a better showing against the Roosters than we did last year.
I think having watched a bit of NRLW like you have the last couple of years, it's probably the only game where I could honestly say if you put Chapman on our team, the score's flipped. Like I've never seen one player.
Yeah, she was
just
awesome.
Be so dominant, on a team and be the absolute difference. And at one stage it looked like some of the girls were intimidated to go to her because it was literally like stop her and don't worry about the other person, but like we'd back off and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, she just had an incredible game, and man, she didn't do that in Origin. Like she was pretty well held in Origin. She got 1 try off a loose ball intercepted. She was unstoppable on the weekend. It was crazy.
They're playing 11 o'clock at Gosford against the Roosters. 3-2-1 for this game, Az?
Have you got it on the slide? Yeah, you do. So I gave Kezi my 3. I thought she was absolutely outstanding. Brilliant game. Like I said, carries the team on her back. Lozana doesn't score that try if not for what was a brilliant break up straight up the guts of their team. Like that was Kezi to a T, and that's why I think she was the best or one of the best early signings we could have made in our inaugural season. Just get that leadership. The fact that she came to us from the Dragons as well, who were a pretty solid team for most years of their early run. We were very lucky to get her. Lozana Lutu had a massive turnaround from game 1 to game 2. I gave her my 2. She, I guess her leadership, or not necessarily leadership, but ability in the halves really improved. I do think she's still more of a 6 and Pauline's more of a 7, but I mean, we also have Emily at the club who's probably, or I think is injured at the moment, who would, I think, be our first choice number 7, which would probably move Lozana to 6, and Emily can goal kick as well. So, but yeah, I think Lozana had a really good game, and I thought I'd give my 1 point to Nevada George, the lock, who had a bit of a stinker in round 1, I'd have to say, but really turned that around on Saturday Arvo, I thought. Had some really good carries, made a lot better defensive decisions. So there were a lot of improvements there. And yeah, it was a really strong showing overall, I thought.
Sunday afternoon, I went to Lickham Oval, took my son for a sausage sandwich on the hill at Lickham Oval. Sat down and watched some footy, and my God, was it awful. 64-4 for the Chooks. They were literally running around scoring on us like it was. This was
after we played the Roosters maybe 4 weeks ago or so, when we beat them fairly comfortably. Yeah,
dog track. Yeah, it's I was going there thinking, and I took the wife and I said, look, she goes, I thought the Magpie. Why do you want to go watch them? I said, they've been going all right lately. Trust me, they've got a couple of wins. They're looking much better.
They well and truly proved you wrong, then, didn't they?
God, yeah, they made me look like an idiot. Once they hit 50, we took the young bloke home. Got a bit restless, but Yeah, it's a shame because it's nice going to a nice chill. Yeah, a couple hundred people, Lidcombe Oval, and got the barbecue going, and it was nice sitting in the sun on it was Saturday afternoon, and yeah, bloody hell. But the Jersey Flag boys got up at least beforehand, 18-10 over the Roosters. So the whole club is playing against the Knights. So the New South Wales Cup are at 1:30 before first grade. Jersey Flag are playing at the Newcastle Permanent Centre of Excellence. I like how they've got permanent there, as opposed to a
temporary.
Yeah, or temporary or movable.
Like the Demountables we had while
yeah.
they were filming the Tiger Town doco.
Yeah. The Harvey Norman women, they went down 24-20 to Doggies, and they're playing after the NRLW on Saturday, which is weird. You think it'd be the other way around. But be as it may. Super Chats, we do have one Super Chat. And of course, it's Brendan W. Legends, and it's $3. He said, "Got the popcorn ready. Let's fucking go." Good on you.
I'm guessing the popcorn's finished now.
Yeah, the popcorn. We're 105 minutes in. It's probably
just because you didn't touch on it. Our team list for round 3 against the Roosters again is unchanged, so no changes yet. So there's still a few injuries with Ebony Pryor, Emily Curtin, and a few others who would probably in our first choice team still not quite ready yet.
Patreon.com/WestsLife. You want to support the team, support the team, support the podcast, and join us in our Discord. What have the guys got for us this week? Dream Buller, I am single, said recruiting members of the Dream Buller fan club benefits will always support your opinions as long as not illegal and verbally agree. May or may not receive $100,000 for joining. We'll join a brotherhood. We'll get a chance at a house visit from Buller himself. Always a chance he goes to a random's house. Asterisk, not guaranteed. If I ever meet you, we'll give you a high five or a hug or a handshake or a nod of the head. Be part of the most important fan club in the history of the fan clubs. So excited to hear from you all. Oh, he said, "Don't put this in the pod." Didn't say that part. Yeah. Well,
after last week, you can franchise that club. There are going to be plenty of Dream.
The New Apollo fan club said, "Please put this on the pod."
Nunes
So I
said,
guess it kind of evened out, so it ended up on the pod.
There you go. Yeah, it's a lot of fun in the Discord. Sign up, join us in there. A lot of fun in the Olympics. I've watched so much of. I've watched
24/7 therapy.
Yeah,
it's good fun.
It just sucks that all the gold medal stuff's so late at night. Yeah.
I mean, that'll be a little bit better in the next one in 4 years in LA because we've got a little bit
daytime.
Morning time for us will be most of the night events
tonight at 11.
The Boomers are playing
and the Boomers
Serbia.
have started now already, halfway in.
My beloved, I don't know, my beloved Nikola Jokic. It's
probably toweling us up.
It's win-win for me. Nikola Jokic goes through or Australia goes through. So, but
at least you can say you're a winner regardless.
The winner plays America, so it's pretty pointless. Yeah. Righto. Yeah, we'll review this game incoming and preview who we got next week? Manly? The South game next Tuesday night. Back in the I choice, bro.
Orange juice.
Oh, that's a dad joke if I've ever heard one.
Thank you everyone for joining us again. We'll do Tuesday night. I know it's probably confusing. I think we've done 3 Tuesdays in a row.
We said we're going to do Monday, Wednesday if we win a game. Are we still sticking to that? Okay,
sure.
So we have to win a game, otherwise it's Tuesday night.
Yeah.
One episode, get it out of the way.
Unless we'll get to celebrate something if we get a win. It'd be nice for me in particular to get a win against Newcastle because I've got someone I can rub it into now.
We're providing some smiles on people's faces. That's all that matters right
now. Anything else before we say goodnight to Big Dog? Speaking of Big Dog.
Yeah, I just want to, if you don't mind, congratulate my cousin. I'm just going to try and find the exact.
I thought you were going to try and get another free feed from.
No, not another free. I don't get free feeds. I'm just trying to find this. Won't be a moment. My cousin Zach Bashara, so son of my cousin Marcus, they won the under-15s grand final for Holy Cross against Patrician Brothers in a big schoolboy competition last week with Sydney Catholic School Championships, which I watched on the live stream.
Yeah, right.
He set up a try, kicked 1 out of 3 goals, had a very strong game. But like all Tigers games, they're up 14-0, and we had to survive a late scoreline of 14-8, bit of a heart attack.
Yeah.
One of the boys, I don't know his name, did an unbelievable ankle
Good Tigers
tap that
score, Holy Cross.
probably saved the game. But yeah, look, really, really strong league, and there's a lot of kids in that Holy Cross team that might be the future of our club. So congratulations to Zach, and I hope he keeps it all going.
Good on you, Holy Cross. I don't know if you call it Holy Cross boys. Might send my son there one day if he's a good footy player. He could be the next Benny Elias / Luke Brooks. All right, anything?
Nope, I think I've said everything I wanted to. I got
Your quota of F-bombs for the year out of the way.
Yeah.
Well, who knows? If we get screwed by the refs again, I've probably got a few more in me. But I said in the chat earlier, I probably could have gone a bit longer. But if I did, we might have been here all night. So I shortened it a little bit.
A Thursday night post-game pod would have gone viral. Like,
probably.
He was ropeable. I was ropeable.
I was also in tears. So I was ropeable and in tears at various points. So
yeah. Yeah. If we get strong internet, we could go live straight from the ground. But the NRL doesn't want to.
It's also tough at games because a lot of the times you don't have as good service because there are so many people around. Like I remember sitting in the grandstand at Campbelltown last year that week. 12 scored his first try against the Storm, and I was trying to look up the game or the footage to listen to the commentary because I heard it was Vossi on the commentary, and it took so long for my phone to load that I really didn't even get a chance to listen to it until after I got home. So
who are you with? Optus?
Optus, yeah. I worked for them, so I've been stuck with them since then. So
I'll go Telstra, no problems. Yeah, no technical problems for us tonight. We must have.
I think we found this. I think we found the solution is being in the same place,
being in the same place, same time,
same bat channel,
same bat channel. So, righto. As always, boys, go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the WestsLife Podcast. Please follow us at WestsLife Pod on Instagram and Twitter and facebook.com/WestsLife Pod. You can also support and take part in the show at patreon.com/WestsLife and give us a subscribe on YouTube and turn notifications on. We'll see you again next time on another episode of the WestsLife Podcast.